that every true
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right.
We are back. Another episode today with my co-host, Mr. Cornelius, and go ahead.
The one and only
One of the best
Ali
artists
Sabet.
on the planet. What's up, Mr. Sabet?
What's happening, guys?
Welcome.
It's been a while since I've seen you, bro.
I know it's been quite a few years, probably a couple years.
Few years, ever since you became a billionaire. You kind of forgot us little people.
Still don't have Lambo money though.
Hey, yeah, you do.
Wait, weren't you at the dealership
heard you
trying
shopping.
to pick up a Lamborghini the other day?
I got
Come
the
on.
phone calls, bro. Come on.
I was just trying to show my kid the Lambo. He was always obsessed since he was like 3 or 4.
Well, you're
So
about
why-
to take him on a ride soon.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring him here?
We're giving them
He was
the
in
car.
school.
We're giving them the
okay.
car Monday or whenever it comes back.
Which car? The Evo?
Our Lambo. I don't know how he's gonna fit in there, but he said he wants it. So
How tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like 6'1", and it's hard for me to get in and out of that car.
that's
There's
what
no
I
way.
said.
Really?
I said you're gonna
It's
look
so
literally
tight.
over the thing, but
I'm gonna
so
squeeze
tight.
myself into that thing for a day or
that's
two.
what you think right now. Just
You're,
wait.
you're going to ease yourself into it, and then you're just going to be stuck there for a good
It's
24
not
hours.
gonna happen. But let's
Especially
let's,
with a bum hip.
yeah. Oh, bro, you're
Yeah,
done.
what's going on with that? I saw that.
I got I found that I have first I blew out a knee on a 3-wheel scooter
Oh, jeez.
about in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck at home. I wasn't walking a lot. I didn't know why my hip hurt, but I'm like, hey, maybe I can roll around in a 3-wheel scooter.
That didn't work.
First day, I fly off. I try to jump a little
Of
curb,
course.
and I fly off of it, and my
Oh,
knee
geez.
my foot gets stuck to the platform. My knee just goes
Oh, wow.
as
Yeah,
I
wow.
hit the ground, and then I was like, huge for a while, and it took like 6 months to heal. But once that healed, I was like, why isn't my hip feeling any better?
Oh, crap.
And it took about a year. I couldn't even like walk sometimes. I was stuck. Went to a ortho, and he's like, oh, you got arthritis in your left hip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I almost passed out. When he told
You're
me,
like, what? I'm 33 years old. How do I have
oh,
arthritis?
gosh, no, I was 46.
40.
Yeah.
46. I pulled my mask down, and the doctor goes, because I couldn't breathe. I was like, dude, I can't fucking breathe. Because I was freaking out because it's something that's not like really reversible, right? And I kind of knew that internally. And I pulled my mask down to breathe, and he's like, I suggest you put the mask back on.
Wait, what? Why?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
COVID.
COVID.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
this is 2022.
This is
Oh,
right
got
when
it,
it
got it,
was,
got it.
This
yeah.
is last year, though. I mean, he was just freaking out. But anyways, so the hip, it sucks because I did karate for, 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And I always thought I could do splits cold. I could do kicks to
Yeah.
the head easy. Like, that was always my thing. Like, I would joke around and kick stop signs when I was younger. And not to be able to do any of that now, just even barely walking, kind of sucks.
It does suck.
It's all right, but you still got the skills to paint, though. So that's all.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I need my hands.
As long as these are okay,
Yeah.
you're good.
But don't worry, new medical technology is coming out.
You're gonna be fine.
Especially with all the AI stuff that's going on, they're going to be able to tailor medicine to arthritis and stuff. So
I'm sure.
don't think too much about it.
Bro, if they saved my leg 20 years ago, they're gonna be able to save your head.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was
Wow.
20 years ago.
How long have the two of you known each other?
A long time.
30 years, maybe.
Holy
Probably.
shit.
I
I
remember
was
he would be walking home from
I was
school.
in junior high or
Stop.
high school. Junior
No,
high, I
dude,
think.
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, junior
Wow.
high.
Junior high.
Because you'd be walking home and I'd be driving by with my Honda Civic.
Yeah. Honking at me. Yeah, no,
Nice
no.
walk.
Wow.
It's been a long, long journey. Yeah, I mean, damn.
I mean, that's nice to see where you guys
Long
started and where you are now. In the last, how long has it been? Because I said this to you earlier. The last time I saw you was at your old stomping ground, Pete's on Culver and Barranca and
Right.
Irvine, painting away. And, I mean, you're in the zone. But in the last few years, things have just completely blown up for you. When did that start? How did you what happened?
So I don't know if you know.
Well, before
tell
you
me.
go into all that, just give everyone like a little background on everything
Of
you've
what I
done and
do.
how you've came to be like one of the best painters on the planet.
From one of your
He's
biggest
too sweet.
supporters.
He is.
Hey, I've been
No, he's-
supporting his ass since
He,
I don't even remember.
yeah, he's been into your art for a long time.
And
I
I'm
told
not
you,
even an art guy, but
I know he
It
would
just
fit me
vibes
into
with
like the
me.
weirdest. Like it would be a party and I'd be in the middle like painting.
yeah.
well, that's
like,
perfect. That's
Well,
a
we
perfect
had a
vibe.
whole thing at the club, and he painted that piece over there.
Oh wow!
And then I painted on that bar.
Oh yeah,
remember?
the whole back. No, the
Yeah.
Oh,
whole
wow.
back wall of the club was
Yeah.
painted. It took you like 2 days.
Oh, the outside.
The
yeah,
outside.
The outside.
Holy
and
crap.
the bar with.
And he painted the first shop we had, which I wish I could have saved that entire wall. Probably
You did an entire wall over there.
he
a
did.
huge one. Yeah,
He
I
did
have
wow.
that
like as
video.
big as this wall. Plus, he didn't want to stop. I got back to the shop, and he's like going on the roof to
That's
see.
so
It
cool.
was way bigger than this one.
Yeah, no, it was long.
It was really
way
long.
long.
That's very Keith Haring of you. Like it's the Persian version of Keith Haring.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
painting on a restaurant wall behind you right
So
now.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I remember
Yeah.
that too. I remember I was watching that.
that's
With-
Sadaf in L.A.
Yeah.
Oh, the headquarters or something?
No, the
No,
Sadaf
it's
restaurant.
the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like the brand Sada.
See,
right.
my
You know?
favorite ones are like these,
The
like
black and gold.
gold and the black. And I said, like, for being Persian, I never liked gold, but for some reason, I vibe with the black and the gold. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people.
Next building, you guys paint a wall black. I'll come over.
Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah, you are. You already know.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it on this. It's gonna be a waste.
Yeah.
But if we buy our own building, fuck, it's gonna be just huge art.
So that guy from your last building messaged me. This is pre-NFTs. And he's like, I'm about to tear this down. Should I keep it? I'm like, dude, you're asking the artist whether or not you're going to keep
Yeah.
it or tear it down. I was like, well, I ain't stopping. You know, this is what I'm going to be doing till
Yeah.
the day I die. So it's either going to be something or it's going to be nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess he decided to tear it down.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
shit.
gone.
That's
Yeah,
too
because
bad.
my other boys bought the building and then they tore that whole thing down, the whole back garage, so it's one big open spot.
It was that guy who bought it, right? The wheel guy? The wheel brand.
Well, he bought it, but then my Asian guys bought it from him. Yeah.
And then they
So the
tore it
wheel guy broke it down, and then they bought it and turned it into a huge office.
Huge
space.
office.
Yeah.
I don't know who all these guys are, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
got that cleared away.
Right. I don't even know. I mean,
I'm like this guy, that guy,
Yeah.
that guy. But
he knows a lot of guys.
he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of that. I told him and my parents.
I got
I'm
a
like,
guy.
I always,
I got a guy.
for sure. And I'm like, who are all these guys? But having hung out here, he's got a lot of guys.
He knows how many guys.
They come and go. But yeah, so you were telling
That
us.
sounds like a different type of business. You got a lot of guys coming and going.
I don't know, bro.
No, it's very. He's actually very, very well connected. It's
Yeah.
it's always surprising to me the quality and the people that come through. You know.
For sure.
So yeah. Well, I'm curious about all the stuff that's going on now, but I know you guys have a ton of history and
So, I mean, as far as like my career path, I started as I guess, an intern at an ad agency in
Oh, cool.
'99.
wow.
So I worked on Kawasaki, AirTouch, Taco Bell.
Rezvani.
Well, that was later, right? That's when he was later.
I just remembered that. I forgot. You were going to do some branding for me for something way back.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what it was, but that's when I met you at Pete's,
Yeah.
and we were talking about it, and it was a little pricey for me at that point.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it.
But that's essentially what happened. I worked in the ad agencies for a couple of years. Then, about a year and a half. So I worked on Taco Bell. I learned all my design skills on Taco Bell. I also earned this Taco
Just
Bell.
purely as a painter or a graphic
No,
artist?
no,
or-
I was a designer.
Got
So I was an art director
Got it.
on all of those different things. I wasn't painting at all,
Oh, wow.
actually. My sideline, I wanted to be like the next Hello Kitty, Sanrio. My dream was to do characters and cutesy stuff. That was the big thing
Oh,
for me. I never saw myself as a painter actually till probably 20 years
And
later.
you did create the anime line that you had with,
There's Pixel Pop,
Pixel
there
Pop,
was
yeah.
Snooki, there was
and you got kind of big out in Asia, right? They flew you out.
Yeah,
I remember you went out there. I mean, that's their type of shit.
I want to hear what he's
Yeah.
saying. Calm down. Calm.
Usually he talks so much the guest doesn't even get a word in. But
Really?
since
Now you see the chemistry, right? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let's hear about.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, you can see Pixel Pop on the screen right there. Pixel Pop was something that had different names over the course of the years, right? So it was called Snooki at one point, SNOOKI. I still have the domain name. Then in 2010, it became Pixel Pop, and it grew from there. It really was when 2010 I'd been doing branding and design for 20 years.
Wow.
So that's how I paid the bills. I've branded over 300 companies worldwide.
Wow.
I've designed logos and icons for probably businesses that you're aware of and you've seen. If you've ever used Thayer's Naturals, for example, that's all me. Everything Thayer's. Yeah, I started them from scratch, and they went from, they were doing about $4 million in sales. After the rebrand, they ended up selling the company for $400 million
Stop.
to L'Oreal 5 years
Holy
later.
crap. Did you have equity in that company?
I did not. I actually asked the CEO, I said, hey, I should have charged you a penny for every bottle.
Oh, for sure.
Because I wouldn't have given it to you.
He would have.
He was really smart. But I did, they were a great company to work for. They treated me really well. John and the whole crew was just beautiful. But I designed TikTok before it was TikTok. I always say that. It was called Flipagram before it was sold to Toutiao.
Was that your own software?
No.
What
I
was
just
it?
designed the identity and a little bit of the user interface stuff before it was called Flipagram at the time.
Wow.
Then it got sold to Toutiao and it became TikTok.
Oh, wow.
It blended with another ByteDance. You guys, ByteDance bought them, but there was a dance, another dance app.
What?
You guys remember? It was Flipagram and
Dance app.
no, there was another.
I don't know.
I've never heard.
You remember everybody was doing all the dance moves on
Yeah.
it. So that was that.
What was it?
El Torito restaurants. You ever been?
Yeah, of course.
That's my bowl.
Stop.
Yeah, the bowl is mine.
Wait, why has he not rebranded? We rebranded. Where,
You actually did a good job.
We can't afford this guy yet.
Well,
He's gonna ask for arm and a leg.
Yeah, but if he has equity,
but he
that
will
might
be
change
part of the
things.
group now.
Yeah, little equity would be.
That's why he's here. He's gonna sign his life away right now.
That's right. So 20 years of branding, strategy, design. On the side, I was always painting and drawing, or more like doodling. And it took till 2010 when I figured out, I'm like, you know what? I want to get back into the character stuff, but this time I'm not, because my thing is called the Hello Kitty complex.
Huh.
I had the Hello Kitty complex, which is I thought that if I drew cute stuff and put it on T-shirts and hats and stuff, it would become, I could become successful and I could sell it, and that was success to me.
Right.
I think that was the wrong kind of mentality until I figured out in 2010 when Instagram came out, I started drawing the characters every day and putting it on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And as I started to see people liking this stuff, and then there was a bigger audience, and then people started tattooing the artwork on their bodies, and
Oh, wow.
I was like, because I forced myself not to monetize it. I didn't even use the computer for a lot of the stuff because I wanted it to be organic for the first time, because I was so good at packaging things as a branding guy.
Right.
I would package it and then make it a product, and then it would just die. Whereas as an artist, I was consistently drawing and I couldn't stop.
Right.
So there was two different worlds that I was kind of trapped in between. And once I gave in to the urge to consistently draw one theme, at least, the bunnies and the tigers and all the cute stuff, there was an audience. Once I learned that I can have an audience, I was like, I don't even care about the success. This is success. This feels good. This feels like I've made it, and I want to consistently draw forever and build an audience. And looking back, I realized that was the most important thing, was that I was just a frustrated artist.
Got it.
And none of the other stuff, because I would see Paul Frank and I'd be like, what does he got that I don't? And why am I not discovered yet? And all of these things. Whereas it wasn't about that. It was just me and my sketch pad and having a good time painting and drawing.
Right.
And through drawing for about a year or two, into 2010, 11, 12, I start drawing other things than the cute little bunnies and tigers and things like that.
Wow.
That's when the women start showing up. And then a few years later, I'm writing a script, a language I don't understand, but it's mystical.
Oh, wow.
And all of these, my work goes from whimsical to mystical kind of.
Right.
And that took a course of probably 2010 to 2015. And in 2015, I had done branding for 20 years. I was like, I can't anymore. I'm done. So if I'm going to make a shift, I have to make it consciously. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm going to be a full-time painter.
Oh, wow.
What does a full-time painter do? He paints. And I
Yeah,
was a
and who
painter.
had your back? Yeah. We had him in the,
He takes a lot of credit.
we had him in the
I know,
club.
I'm like,
We had him at all
apparently
my
your career-
shops. Yeah, everything.
But you know what this is
we
about?
promoted
right?
him a lot.
This is the whole thing about like artists making it, and then
Right.
everybody wanting to be a part of the story. And
Right,
I think I've done a great job at including Ali into my story.
Yeah.
No, he's just been so supportive over the few years.
Yeah.
You know,
He has
this
been.
past 10,
We actually
15
made
years.
my old shop. Remember, you brought like 15. Everyone thought it was an art studio, not a car shop. They would come in, and his pieces were
Everywhere.
every wall was his pieces. And people would drive by. They pull up. They're like, "Is this an art studio?" I'm like, "No, I'm renting cars." But if
Yeah, we had shows. We painted
Yeah.
on your walls.
we did a lot.
every time
At
there
the
was
club.
opportunities. Yeah.
I think what you mentioned a second ago with people kind of riding your wave of success, I think it's so hard being an artist because it's completely innate and you're doing it and no one's around you, right? And you're always asking, is this crap? Is this good? Am I doing the right thing? But it's just being true to yourself and letting it
Right.
evolve. That's kind of led you to where you are today.
I think the biggest question that kept going through my head every time I was drawing is why is this important? Because there's so many other things in the world that people are doing that are so much more
Sure.
important than me drawing something
Sure.
and coloring it in like a 5-year-old in my office, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but the story unfolds over time as you start to impact people, and you know, people are like, "Oh, your work has a healing effect, or it makes me feel better when I'm
Amazing.
around it," or you know, so all of those things, and you know, as the story unfolds again, you realize why people are sensing those things, and you start realizing why it's important. And innately, ever since I was a kid, I don't know if it's a psychological thing of a kid wanting to be important or not, but I knew I wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
The work wasn't great, but I knew that when I put my pen on paper, there was an importance to it. There was this
Amazing.
big thing to it. And then again, when I look back, I don't know if it was just an innate knowing
Sure.
or it was just a psychological thing for a kid who needed attention.
Yeah, but how amazing that you had the courage to follow that, you know?
I don't know if it was courage versus just I had no other choice. It's just something that's constantly
It propels you.
It propels you.
Amazing. So you also I didn't even realize this until you just said it, from the whimsical to the mystical. So the pieces that my brother has here hanging are very mystical. They almost look like Sufism or, you know, just ancient Persian. You can't tell if it's script or what it is. But then the painting he has in his bedroom from like 15, 30, 80 years ago
Right.
is like this little pink background with a girl blowing bubbles.
Because he did it for the vape shop.
Oh, got it.
So it was like she's smoking a vape or something.
Right.
Yeah. So you're right. I didn't even see that transition until you just said that. So
Right.
it's nice to see your evolution over time.
Yeah, the more free I got, the more open I got, the more my anxiety and depression or whatever else from a mental health standpoint went away. The more connection to source or connection to self or
Wow.
connection to a higher self started to be established. And I always had that in the back of my mind always when I was creating, but there was always like this brick wall in the middle of it that I could visually see.
Oh, wow.
And once the anxiety and the fear-based stuff, and I'll tell you how those things went
Please.
and how the healing happened. But as the healing happened over a course of 2015 to 2019, I want to say was probably the most important, the work changed. So 2016, I start writing. In the 2015, the word love comes, love equals, which was a symbol of love that also has an entire like numerology secret
Oh, wow.
sequence in it. Once that showed up, I knew that there was, okay, so there's things being downloaded.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I'd done logos for 20 years, 300, 400 different company logos. I was very good at simplifying core values of companies into simple, iconic imagery.
Right.
So when I did that with the word love, I was like, okay, this is different. And
Wow.
I got obsessed with it. So I built around it for about a year or two, for about a year.
I
and then,
sure do remember that.
Right.
You wrote love everywhere.
Yeah,
On my wall there was love, but it's like a weird love. You can't really tell.
Wait,
but
I want
Yeah.
to see how you do it. Will you
Love
just write it?
equals?
Because I'm like, what does
Yeah.
it look like? I'm like, how do you
here's a
base
paintbrush.
whole,
There's some paint. Draw some.
or like even on a thing so that we see what you're talking about, because, you know, that's yeah.
So
And that was kind of at the core of that healing period from 15 to 19.
So yeah, so I think, in 2015, when I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a full-time painter. What does a full-time painter do? He paints. And I'm like, I'm not painting. I'm just kind of doodling here and there.
Right.
So I started carrying like paper and brushes and things like that. And I would go to Pete's and I would paint all day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would come home and I would design for clients just to pay the bills still.
Sure.
Right? Because, 3 kids living in Irvine, it's not an easy
Guy's
task.
got a big fancy house. Let's not talk about
No, I was a renter for like so many years. Man.
Irvine is actually Pelican Hill.
Yeah, I probably didn't even pay my rent for like.
I remember I was in your garage. I was going to come steal all your paintings, but
Yeah, dude, I remember that house. No, we kept getting kicked out of houses because they kept wanting to sell them. So finally, this last year, we were able to purchase a home. But
nice. Congrats.
thank you. But from a standpoint of, what was the question? I forget.
No, I wanted to see, because you mentioned that you've done all this stuff around
The
love equals.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand the.
So the love symbol was like 4 a.m. Here, I'll do one for you. So it's a thinner brush, but.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first. It's called Love Equals.
We got a video of this.
Oh, okay. Oh, but Farsi mean. Oh,
No, it's LOVE.
Is this not on video right now?
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see it. So it's LOVE, but it's also a person holding the equal sign.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Now I
So
see.
sharing, and then love, the L here, receiving. So one hand receiving
Oh, wow.
from God, source, universe. And you see his head, and then so that's the word love.
What is this he's holding?
He's actually serving.
Oh, wow.
Or the meaning changed 4 years later for me personally. But if you also look, there's a number 1, omega, square root, equal sign.
Yeah.
From alpha to omega, the root of all equals love.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of meaning packed in there.
Yeah, there's love equals love.
Oh, shit.
If you go like this, there's a guy with a big nose talking a lot. That's probably me.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And upside down, it's equals m pi. So pi, like the mathematical formula, m pi. So equals m pi squared is called the Poincare theorem. Based on what Wikipedia says, they call the Poincare theorem one of the most eloquent mathematical formulas ever proven. So for that to be in here, and it's about spheres, like if you have a full sphere and you flatten that sphere, does it have the same surface area as if it was a sphere?
Oh, wow.
So those are the things that were embedded in this. So this just told me that there's a lot of information on a lot of different layers to the information embedded in this field, in this icon. There was also 4 other love symbols that had a lot of synchronicities with time and dates and places once I went past this. So this was in 2015.
But this is an evolution, right? Or is this where it started?
This is when this is the start or the evolution of like the scripting, me coming up with the love script, which is how this. So 4 other symbols came. Symbology was kind of part of my existence as a branding guy, right?
Wow.
So I was creating symbols for companies, whether it was Flipogram or Thayer's or it was, El Torito the Bull. Those were symbols of what the core values of what those companies stood for.
Sure.
But now I was exploring bigger ideas as I was going through a healing process of painting daily, putting me in a very, very meditative state when I'm painting for 3 hours a day. And then now you have this. I mean, this was kind of a big deal. I've given talks about the love symbol at churches, LGBTQ events. I was even sponsoring, I think, I forget, Radiant Health, like where I got to talk about the love symbol with Radiant.
Yeah.
I used to donate a lot of art to them.
No way.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. They did amazing things for people. So, but it just really meant sense. In the LGBTQ community, it was like love equals love. Who you love. It doesn't really matter. And with the Christian community, I think I was a church that I talked about. Alpha to omega, root of all equals love. So all of those things were embedded in this symbol, and I did that for about a year until I went to Tokyo. In 2016, I go to Tokyo, and I feel like I'm at home because I paint with Japanese brushes. Most of the work that I do starts with inks and brushes, and I felt really connected. So once I got there, the first thing that happened was I felt like I was at home.
Oh, wow.
And about 80% of my anxiety about the world, my fears, whatever that was basically holding me down for 40 some odd years just dissipated. And I came back different. I came back a lot calmer. You know, I still had, you know, the little bit here and there, but I didn't know why that had happened in Japan.
Right.
I think the most important thing about our evolutions is looking back and realizing the actual mechanical components that actually made it happen. So the vibration and frequency of Japan is way different than me being in America. You know, I felt in tune with Tokyo, whether it was crazy and busy for most people. For me, I was at peace. I was like Zen. So moving on to, but I was painting. I think I was painting. And when I came home, I was like, God, I'm ready for something else. The love symbols are great, but give me something else. And I start filling up pages with just lines and zeros. And it just didn't, it was like, this isn't cool. And over the course of, I want to say that 3 to 6 months into that,
This is the shit right
and
there.
that's when the script started to flow. And now I script like it's my first language.
Yeah.
Got it. Is that when you were in Tokyo? You've sort of visually saw that wall go down, and that's what dissipated the anxiety and depression and all that, or?
I think once I was in Tokyo, I didn't visually see a wall go down. I just
You felt
like
it.
I just became very calm, and my brain wasn't talking anymore, and it wasn't you know, there was none of the OCD stuff that we do when we're trying to deal with anxiety. And once anxiety also has different levels, right? So anxiety can push into almost into paranoia for some people, and back and forth. So once that those alarm bells were just kind of shut off all of a sudden,
Right.
and you know, therapy is great. I think if people are going to therapy, it's wonderful, but it's not going to stop that. And looking back, now I can see that you can't talk yourself out of anxiety. You can't talk yourself out of the depression stuff. You have to physically shift your vibration and frequency to transcend it. There's really no other way. And 2019 was really apparent for me because that's when my healing abilities started. And the first healing I did the morning I woke up, I was like 100% like clear. Like nothing could shake me. Today it's a little different because now, you know, with the finances and things like that you do, you can get dragged back into lower vibrational status. And those things can come back and haunt you both on a physical and emotional level, but it's different. I have tools, right? I know, like, if I'm going through something and, you know, I wake up in a state of panic because of what's happening in the market, and then, you know, I focus on my paintings, I go back to breathing, and I go, hey, you got to be in the now. So there's a lot of tools now because there's not this underlying thing that's bothering me. It's more outside forces of what's happening today.
Wow.
It's different.
Or you just jump on a plane and go back to Tokyo.
Yeah.
I should. I need to. I went back to 2016, 17, 18. I took my family.
Amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back.
When did I come to your house to drop off all the art? Remember we called my dad FaceTime and then you did the healing for him?
Yeah.
And he felt it right off the bat.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 19 or 20.
That was probably...
That was right when I left the club.
Yeah, it was like late 19 probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Early 20. That's when we did the Buddha piece. Right?
Oh, yeah. I asked for that so I have good energy here all the time. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, shit.
There, just a quick question. When you were in Tokyo, how long did you stay there?
13 days.
That's it?
The first time, yeah.
And then did you go in the countryside or you were just in Tokyo?
No, we did Tokyo. We did we did Osaka. And then we did Kyoto for a few days, which was amazing.
Yeah.
One of the video shots you have behind you that is me painting at like 3 a.m. on the streets of Kyoto in front of like some house.
Wow.
We were just doing wild stuff, like trying to connect, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the energy in Japan is so different, especially in the countryside. There's such peace there that is hard to find in most other places, and that root that's there is just incredible. What a journey. I had no idea. Yeah. I literally had no idea. I've seen your art. I still see the art in his bedroom when I go to my parents' and I'm like, oh God, that thing again, you know?
Right.
But how incredible.
Yeah, it's been a while.
How did you get in touch with that?
You went a lot of up and down. I remember we would talk back and forth. It was like good, and then it was not so good, and
yeah, because the design business was not great, right? And then, you know, you carry over childhood trauma and everything else, and now you're raising a family, instant family, right? I mean, we got married, we had our first kid, then we had our second, then we had our third, and life just kind of blurred past us. And, you know, I was just always trying to catch up with what was happening. So, you know, and then client work, when I wasn't very hireable. So when my first job, I got let go of because of high levels of anxiety. I was maybe dancing in the hallways at Foot Corner Building instead of like writing 1999 Taco Bell. You know, I would totally mess up like the workflow and all that stuff because I wasn't accountable. And I didn't know why. I just was not, you know, because anxiety shows up as ADD or ADHD or whatever else, right? But it's just you trying to figure out how to get rid of it. And then, so they let me go, and I just found out that the only way I can make a living and do something I like would be to do it on my own. So I was kind of forced into running a design business because there was nothing else I could do. It wasn't like I one day want Sabet Brands to be this huge agency. And for 20 years, I ran it as a one-man show, but at the same time, I got to do really incredible things for really, really nice companies.
Right. And like, just being able to capture, like you said, all the different components of a company, the ideology, the symbolism. I mean, all the meaning that's packed into that single note with 3 lines. You know, there's a lot there. So it's just, to me, that's kind of mind blowing.
So the way that changed course as far as meaning goes, as I was telling you, in 2019, I started to have the ability to help people heal.
Right.
So I took my Reiki class, and I was like, oh, this is okay. This works, but it's very slow. And I wanted to learn something more instant and magical. And I read a book called Quantum Touch, and all it said was activate your heart. Think about people you love in your heart. It's a very easy human skill. You can think about them after you've rose your vibration or raised your vibration through activating the heart, or basically heart and mind coherence, which you can get into it in about 3 minutes. I think anyone can, right? And the healing effects of that is almost instant, right, for most people.
How do we do it?
Is that something that you can teach?
Yeah. It's very easy.
Kenny needs it.
Yeah. We can all do it now.
Can we put it in a pill and give it to people? No.
Yeah, I mean.
No, I'd love to learn that.
We can activate the pills for people to, because energy is held into objects.
Remember I called you a while back. I'm like, hey, send me some good vibrations and that painting because I was losing my shit at some points, bro. I was like, oh my God, I can't handle it. This is a few years ago. I was trying to get a hold of him to send me some good energy. I was like, keep sending that shit my way.
It's interesting because I had a vision once. I woke up kind of that half sleep, half wake mode. And I had this vision that, especially the script pieces, like the one you have, 2 of them you have here, they're almost as if they are communication devices for me to send energy and vibes through them.
Yeah.
So I was in this like dark room, but in this dark, like vast room that I was in, I was connected spiritually and energetically to all the script pieces that were out there.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so basically that was a prelim vision to understanding quantum entanglement. And now that I think about it, I'm probably quantumly entangled with all my work. So if I close my eyes and just think about every piece that's out there and send it love, I think it's already there instantly.
There's a lot of pieces out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So
Add it out.
Including all the NFTs.
Yeah, so many.
Activated NFTs.
So the NFT art is kind of, it's the ones that I saw are all the scripting that you do, right?
It's all different.
No, it's
there
all
are different ones?
I have
different
collections.
Yeah.
So I have collections that are just purely, the Sabet art. Obviously, script is included in a lot of my work. It's almost on everything. I have the character-based art brands like Pixel Pop, Tokyo Punks, Ugly Kitties, Bad Bunnies. That's a whole nother sector of my work. I have a whole collection called Healing Codes, which was the black and gold.
I think that's the one
codes.
I saw.
Yeah, those were pretty cool, and those had a utility of like us giving access to healing sessions with either me or other healing professionals in the NFT or Web3 space. And it was to raise the vibration. And also people, when they have those, they typically say, it makes me feel better, or my dog wasn't feeling good, so I bought a healing coat for him, and he feels so much better. And so I do have the byline of this is for your entertainment only, but it is my belief and my things that I've actually seen happen in my life through
Absolutely.
the codes and through actual activations. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos of me doing healings, but
I have not.
I've been able to do things like help reverse.
Yeah, I saw one of yours.
Yeah,
Reverse what?
essential tremors, which is a
No way.
yeah. I don't know if you've
I
ever seen.
think that's the one I watched.
Yeah, I've done it probably about 5 or 6. And when I say I want to give
Of course, yeah.
praise to God, but the ability to do that it was activated on July 4th, 2019, and it's never stopped. Even was able to stop the effects of Parkinson's in a friend of mine for about a week. Yeah, she didn't need her medication at all. And then it came back through, stress and everything else. But it just shows you like how much we can impact our reality with just thought alone or heart energy alone.
Yeah.
And I continue to do that, but not, it's not my job. It's just something I do as, if friends and family need it.
Right.
I did do thousands of healings in 2020 to 2021 because we had nothing else to do but sit at home.
Yeah.
So I started doing a lot of online because time and space doesn't matter. So I can do it from anywhere. And I did a lot. I had a Facebook group. 1,000 people would come and everybody would be feeling better at the end. So, and it's really instant. If I can help someone, I can usually know within about 2 to 3 minutes if it's working. If I can't, yeah.
You're definitely going to be doing some of that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you just kind of woke up and you knew?
So no, it's a funny story. 2019, I had read the book Quantum Touch by Richard Gordon.
Right.
And the first book said, if you want to raise your vibration, and I didn't understand what raising your vibration meant. I'd read it a million times.
Yeah.
And I'd listened to so many different spiritual healers. And, I don't know if you're into this kind of stuff, if you've read like Esther Hicks or whatever. If you want the car you want, you have to match the vibrations to the car. You're like, dude, I don't really want a car. I just want to pay the bills. Like,
I need my bills paid.
Yeah,
I think everyone saw The Secret was like the big thing that first came out, and everyone was on it,
So the way they were talking about The Secret, there was a lot missing there too. It's like, you just got to think about the stuff you want and be grateful for it in advance. Yeah, those things work. They're almost mechanics of like the way you can play with the universe and get the things you want. But I don't think it brings happiness or joy. I think what you need to do again is once you raise your vibration to a certain level, you transcend even the slightest desire to have or want anything.
Got it.
Like the morning I woke up after my first healing thing is like, this is also what happens with animals typically.
I know. I'm like, wait, why is my dog hanging out with you?
Yeah.
Usually he tries to scoot in and get on the couch or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's looking at me kind of like this, but
yeah,
it's kind of cool that he's just hanging out with you.
Yeah. So when you hold a higher vibration, dogs and cats and stuff want to be close to you. It's kind of trippy. But once you transcend, once you raise your vibration and learn how to physically do that, and you can hold a certain level of vibration.
What is that noise?
It's
what is he?
He's
doing?
like licking the ball. It's okay.
Yeah. So once you do that, then like the desires kind of fall away, and what happens also is the resistance falls away. And once the resistance falls away, everything comes.
Oh wow!
Right? Like I think 2020, 2019, when that was happening, 2020 happens, and I was happy as I can be. Business sucked. I had no clients. It was pandemic. We were trapped at home, and I was like, this is incredible. I can help people, which I did. I don't care about money. I probably didn't pay my rent for a few months because I couldn't. I mean, it was just horrible, but at the same time, it didn't bother me, right? I just knew everything was okay. And then because there was no resistance, all of a sudden things happen. The government calls, hey, do you want this loan? I'm like, yeah. Here you go. Here's this much money. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, this stock that you had that was just sitting around, you can cash it in now. Really? All right, cool. There was no resistance to anything. Wow. And all of a sudden everything worked out. And that led into 2021, which again, I'd started to do better. Paintings were selling. I was doing, this movie or video behind you was created. I think the Iranian channel Manitou came and they interviewed me.
Wow.
So all of this stuff started to happen, and then February 21 was when the NFTs and the Web3 came in. A couple of friends were like, "Have you heard of NFTs?" I was like, "No, I don't know what they are." But I'm always good at like taking advantage of what technology is being offered. For example, I would 2010, like 2012, when live video on Facebook started happening, I started painting live, and I would auction off my paintings live on video.
Oh, wow.
Like maybe it was 2006. I don't even know.
Early adapter. Huh?
So anytime something comes that I can use easily to spread the word and expand my audience, I would. I'm not the type that goes viral by any means, but I'm pretty good at like making connections and using these tools to make connections and build the audience. And that's what I did. So as soon as NFTs came, they're like, "Do you know what it is?" I was like, "No." Did some Googling. Only one article came up. And it was a list of the platforms. I signed up for one of the platforms, which is Known Origin, and they let me in through a verification process, which was basically DMing me on Instagram to find out if I was like, "What kind of shit is this?" Like,
wait, this is 2019.
This is 2021 now.
Oh wow,
February, yeah. So moving into the NFT world, that's how it started. Was I got a couple of buddies told me I should check it out, and I did, and minted my first piece. By that time, I'd been selling a lot of prints online. So every quarter, I would have a flash sale where I would sell 173 prints or 200 prints of 200 paintings that I would do in a very short amount of time, 20 days, 30 days. So my body was very used to this fast moving, being able to create programs and activating my audience to collect my work.
Wow.
I had no other choice. I wasn't doing design anymore.
Right.
I had moved on. 2019, my biggest client left, and this was it. The transition was complete. It took 4 years. And so by that time, where I could feel like I could make it as an artist, so about 2019, 2021, so about 3 years of just selling prints and some originals, and also doing a lot of collaborations with like Mont Blanc, John Varvatos, BMW,
Oh wow.
Mercedes-Benz. So I would get paid to show up and do these shows.
What's the price point like for your prints for all that? Just as a side note.
Don't ask.
Yeah.
Okay, forget it.
It's a little different.
It's a little different today.
He's like, today it's actually yeah.
But I do always have accessible pricing. Like that's one of my things, even in the NFT world, which I got a lot of shit for at the beginning, was being very accessible because I have a lot of volume in the way I sell my fine art, whereas we're considered one-on-one artists and I'm doing editions of 50 and people are like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
I'm like, well, it's doing well. People are buying it and I want to be able to be more accessible. But when the first NFT I sold, I had already been selling a lot of prints and, $100, $150, that's how I was living. And all of a sudden I'm surrounded by boxes and I'm like, dude, I'm like a shipping manager now. It's not even art anymore. And I draw on the boxes and I sign everything. And so I was like, my life was meant for something a little bit bigger than this, or a lot bigger than this. This is not what I imagined being an, well-known artist is or whatever. And then I mint my first piece, and a couple of days later, I think the first piece sold for $800. It was an edition of 10. And I was like, what just happened? What? I don't have to like do anything? Like my body was so used to, imagine like, like when you have to go work out at 7 p.m. and if you don't, your body and adrenaline kicks in. Like everything kicked in. Like my body was ready to print it out and sign it and roll it up. Like, no, nothing. All right. And that's when I really got into it with Clubhouse and Twitter. I don't remember how I ended up on Clubhouse. I don't remember how I ended up on Twitter because I was an Instagram and Facebook guy. But it just kind of fast-tracked into it. And I think I was the #1 selling artist on Known Origin within a few days, and I've held that title ever since.
Wow.
At least on the primary side of sales. And only to be rivaled by like Xcopy, which is huge.
Whoa.
I don't know if you know.
Wait, so do you attribute a lot of this to your own, what you said earlier about the resistance goes away once you kind of have this detachment? Is there a correlation there?
Absolutely. Once there's no detachment, once there's no resistance to anything, when it came in, I just took up on it, and I was, 3 years ago? So I'm 45, you know, my energy levels weren't that much anymore. Like when I was 20, when I would pull all-nighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden that young energy came back. Now I'm like doing 13 hours in Clubhouse talking and educating and connecting with other people and helping each other. And then at nights, like still working and painting and minting. So I had like almost like a 24-hour cycle
Wow.
for a good year and a half.
Whoa.
I would sleep like maybe 4 or 5 hours a day.
Wow.
I just was having such a great time as well. The opportunities that came about, you couldn't say no to a lot of it. And some of it wasn't good, and you learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, got to work with George Lopez, did a drop with him, got to work with, you know, a car company that was coming out, just different brands, different things that were coming. And I think the Kardashian, one of the sisters, wanted to do something, and I got to talk to that team. And, you know, the alignment wasn't there for me at the time for the NFT space because it was so different. And so there was opportunities that I said no to. You know, there was a lot of amazing things that happened in a very short period of time.
Right.
And other than the fact that I had no resistance, I was also ready.
Mm.
You know, 3 years, 4 years of like doing flash sales on Instagram, you know, building up 200 paintings each time, you know, doing a bonding curve, which I didn't even know I was doing a bonding curve, whereas you would buy a painting from me, there would be only scarcity models, like there's only 5 available today of my physical paintings.
Right.
And they're $25 the first day, but $50 the second, and $75 the third. I was playing these games taught by a friend of mine named Spencer. He taught me how to do a lot of this stuff early on. He's like, you just need 3 things. You need an audience, you need education, and you need a program. Yeah. So you got to educate your audience, and then you got to sell them a program. Yeah, you got to make it exciting and fun for them to collect. And that's what these programs were. And so I was already ready to do a lot of the things that people in Web3 were doing or they were starting to do. And I had the work ready because I had been selling for 3 or 4 years straight. And I had so much work that could be converted into NFTs right away because they were all digital. I had already set myself up for that. So between no resistance and also preparation and having this model of working already within me, it was just a no-brainer. I mean, I had sold thousands within a few weeks.
Wow. All that prep work that just kind of led to things just coming together. And just listening to it for the first time, it sounds like the biggest thing that was holding you back was you.
Right.
Like you had all of these things going on, and it's like finally, you know, with that breakthrough that you had, it's like all the pieces came together.
Yeah.
And
all the skills were there.
Yeah.
The branding, also, you know, 20
The
years
work.
of branding, the work.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
how amazing
Welcome
is
to
that?
the team.
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah,
I
think-
know you love cars.
Let's go. I do.
Do you?
I
Yeah,
do.
he's a
You're
car
Persian, please. What am I asking?
You know,
We all love cars.
I've had a thing for BMW M stuff for a while, and does that say M6 on your mug?
I think it's
No, that's an AMG piece.
Yeah, AMG.
No, I just got rid of my M4 competition because I didn't like the color, and the market was kind of messy, and I'm like, there's no need right now. I don't know how I accidentally got to drive an egg now, an electric egg, a Model Y.
Those are comfortable.
Hey,
That's
it's a
fast.
badass car.
It's fast too.
He's like, hey, you think the Lambo's going to be my wife? I was like, we can find out.
They're comfortable cars, I think.
Yeah, they are.
I have so many questions, but I don't want to. I know that you guys have, so cut me off at any point. But you said something that resonates with me a lot, which is like the whole imagine, you know, like look at things like you already have them,
Right.
and then they kind of come to you. It's, you know, but what you said seems kind of contradictory because you're like the moment that you actually detach is the moment where things flow a lot more smoothly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like imagine like for decades we've been imagining the things that we want in our life.
Right.
So does the universe know what we have or not? Like what we want or not? I mean, it already does, right? It's just that resistance is holding it back from coming to you. But once you raise your vibration, it doesn't really matter if you have it or not anyway. But because of that, because you don't care, it just shows up.
It starts coming down.
But then when you get bogged down with it, like when I bought the M4, for example, I bought the first one. It was awesome. I'm like, all right, this is cool. You know, I bought one right at the beginning of 2021, like April. I brought it home. It was a Brooklyn Glade. Loved the car. Everything was cool. Then I got a little greedy. You know, you start getting sucked in. I go in and they have the convertible. I'm like, yo, you want to flip this? And I'm like, can we swap this? And the guy's like, sure, for another $15,000 premium.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
all right, no problem. Let's do it.
NFTs are good.
NFTs are good right now. And then it comes, you know.
I made that in 1 minute.
Yeah. And then it starts. Then you come home and you're like, fuck, I don't even like the color. It was like a skyscraper gray. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't know why I bought it, but I loved driving it and it felt good. And then it starts, you start, you know, then you buy something else, then you buy something, and now you're creating more resistance. Now you're back to like now you're waking up and going, God, what if NFTs don't last? Or what if so now the spiritual part and all that stuff, then now you're starting to fight. And I think that's when this time around, I've been a little bit more cognizant of like getting rid of things right away. Like, okay, so you have the M4, you have an X5, you're not even driving either one because you're at home drawing all day. What are you doing with it? So I sold both of them, and you know, was only running one car with my wife for 5 months, and then we just bought something that's more reasonable, like the Y. Now we're saving, you know, no gas and no upkeep and just electricity, and we have solar, so you know, so it changes, and then you feel that resistance slightly, kind of a little bit of relief there, right? And the things that you're holding onto are holding you back, and it can catch up to you again. Like I'm saying right now, that's where I've been in the past couple of months, especially with what's been happening, not only on a micro scale, on a global scale. It's weird. Yeah. Like everything that's happening is just weird. We don't know where things are going. Every day a bank is failing, but it could also be pushed by propaganda.
Yeah.
Because my friend just sent me a thing. He goes, dude, you know, every year since 2001, 256 banks have gone out of business, and nobody ever said anything about it. So why is it a big deal now, unless there's a bigger plan? And, you know, it's not something that we can really control. So go have a good day.
Yeah. I'm kind of my mom is a huge news junkie, like most, you know, she's like
really
into politics and all that. And I'm like, stop talking to me about it. But
all they do is sit at home and watch news.
It's terrible.
And it's like all negative, all bad. I'm like, what is that gonna do?
Yeah.
You just get into this zone, like they want everyone to be just like scared, and everything's gonna hit the
it's super low vibrational.
Yeah.
It can cause, you know, like heart palpitations. I've been getting sometimes, and you know, things like that. I mean, it could just really ruin you. So, but as soon as you let go, and as soon as you come back to your heart, and as soon as you come back to your breath, things change almost instantly.
I would love to kind of, you know, explore that maybe towards the end of our podcast.
Sure.
Well, it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
Why can't we just go over on this one? It's so cool.
We can. He'll be back again.
Yeah, but
there's always a part 2.
I got about an hour.
Yeah, all right.
Plus, he's got to draw. We got to get that on video.
It's so funny because usually, I mean, I've been drinking this espresso, but I don't think I've ever been this calm on a podcast. I'm just like sitting here going, you know, but there's this internal sense of calm, which I think is
I feel it too. I'm literally like, you can see me sinking down. As it's going, I'm just like going down and down. I'm like, what the hell? I'm so relaxed.
Yeah.
I'll put you guys to sleep.
Yeah, pretty soon.
I don't know about sleep. I'm definitely like aware, but you know, I definitely at
very
ease,
calm.
you know?
Yeah.
I think
here, I'll do an activation right now to raise your vibrations. Do you have any pain?
No.
Do you have any physical pain anywhere usually?
No.
You're pretty cool.
Everywhere.
You're in pain all the
Head
time?
to toe.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get you some relief
I'm
as
good,
we talk. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically all it is for me. Is just I have a ability to instantly bring my vibration up quickly because I don't need to go through the process of the meditation thing anymore. After about a week of it, I didn't need to. And I think once you realize and you learn what it feels like to be here, and you kind of have that sensibility, then you know how to get back there fairly easily. And then if you're bombarded with outside stuff, I think the first thing you need to do is cut it off, right? The news, I was just joking around with one of my friends, but it's true. A couple of weeks ago, as an experiment, I start looking at, or maybe I was bored. I don't want to, I start looking at Instagram and TikTok. I start scrolling, which I usually don't do. Not because I don't want to, it's just I'm more interested in putting out stuff and creating than consuming. But I decided to consume a bunch of this stuff. I tell you, it took about a day before, like, I was completely anxious. I was so, like, I was getting depressed. I was getting worried. And I was like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I never let my kids have any of that stuff on their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 19 and he still doesn't really, I think he doesn't.
I don't know. Did you feel something when you did that?
I just feel very at ease, bro.
No.
I'm so calm. I'm like, everything is just kind of like chilling.
I'm super calm, but when you did that, I kind of felt something on my tailbone. It was just kind of a little bit more of a alertness. I mean, I'm not perturbed in any way, but just more of like, you know? So I felt that.
Usually there's a spinal alignment that happens.
Yeah, it kind of started back here and then just kind of went up from there, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, things like sciatica usually go away fairly quickly, a couple of minutes with me, and sciatica is gone. Usual pains are typically gone. The only times I can't really help other than some relief is when there is something like a hip joint that's all jacked up, arthritis or physical. You know. Even with that, I can get a relief, but I can't necessarily cure it. But I think the person who has it, like me, myself, maybe if I spent 3 hours a day meditating and trying to build it back up, it would probably start improving, which I don't do that. I don't spend that kind of time. If you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think he had a crazy bicycle accident. And I think all his vertebrae were broken or something. And he took a map of what a vertebrae should look like, and he meditated on that for, I think, 9 months straight, laying on his face on a bed. And he built himself back up to what he is today. Yeah. And now he teaches everyone.
When you paint, you said that your painting is sort of this portal that you can connect with and release energy through. Does that carry over when you're actually creating the art itself?
Absolutely. So when I'm painting, I feel the most connected. It's very easy for me to get to that point. And there's a difference between back in the day when I would maybe draw a lot of darker stuff, where it was more of my personal stuff. It's going, you're probably connected to Source and God all the time, right? But I just read a book, I forget by who, it's called The Creative Act. One of the things that he talks about is creating through different filters. So when I create, most of the time, I'm creating through a very clear filter, straight to God, straight to the universe. But if you sit in a coffee shop, now you're picking up on other people's energies, and that's coming through. If somebody stands over my right-hand shoulder, it's probably my very clear channel, physical channel. I can't, because I start picking up on their stuff right away. So I have to ask them to move. At my shows and events, typically I'll ask people to move out of the way, not to be rude, but I'm like, hey, I'm starting to feel your anxiety, whatever you're feeling. I'm starting to feel it, and it's starting to mess me up. So the more clear the channel is, the easier the stuff flows. And I'm not putting in my own emotional stuff anymore because it's not really bogging me down. I don't have anxiety most of the time. I don't have worries. I'm just painting. And that's when you see script flow, and you see, and I paint situations before they happen. I paint people before I meet them. So there's a lot of this, again, the mystical stuff just goes beyond time and space a lot of times.
I would love to capture that, because I remember when I saw you, it's so weird because I remember, I still remember, I'm a pretty visual guy. That's how I learned. But I remember seeing you, and you were just like so engrossed in what you were doing. It was like, it was busy. It's a coffee house, right? People coming and going, but you were almost like in the space, and I was like, hey, how are you? And it was like, when you looked over, you almost came out of that,
Yeah.
So it's like you are kind of very, and I think it's very unique to be able to see that.
Right.
So if you're down, I would love to see you kind of paint and to like capture that energy a little bit.
Of course.
So here, my brother bought you a canvas.
Well, we'll do it
'Cause
after.
I'll do the
said-
canvas after, but I'll do a piece on paper for you if you want.
Yeah.
It's easier.
He also bought these. I don't know if you want to use these or not.
Yeah, maybe those we'll do after because it's harder to demonstrate.
Oh, I got you a couple pens.
I like those pens. Let me try one of these. These are cool.
Yeah.
You got Bomiji Stylo. These are cool. I use.
It's a gift.
I know. I can't wait.
It's a gift for producing a $10,000 piece of art.
Yeah. Maybe 50.
Let's go. Yeah, man. It's definitely something that that I love doing. And when that's a funny thing you say that you actually witnessed it because in 2015 when I decided I was like I'm a painter and I would go to the coffee shop and mess around, I would actually take a toolbox with me. And in the toolbox, I'd filled it with all sorts of different material. And there was this piece called I Love This Shit. You can actually Google I Love This Shit by Sabet and you'll see it. It was a really messy piece. It was not one of the girls or whatever. It was just all sorts of stuff. But when I was creating it, that was the first time I felt really, really connected to a piece.
Wow.
Like I felt connected to a source while I was doing it. So it felt like almost as if there was a cone that opened up around my head.
Wow.
And I called it the love vortex at that point. I was connected. I was just like, this is amazing. Oh my God, look at the beautiful colors and layers. And then there was the disconnect when I had to go. I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. That's just a cool piece, a small piece. And I threw it in the trunk of my car, but I took a picture of it and I posted it. And I promised myself not to worry about monetizing my paintings and all that stuff. That was just one of the things that I make myself do when I start a new venture now. It's like, don't worry about monetizing it. Focus on the craft. Take a picture of it, post it. And I think by the time I got home, there were so many like comments on that piece. Like, this is amazing. This is wonderful. And it was messy and everything. And that was the first time I really understood. And there was 2 people that wrote, I want this. And those were the magical words at the time. And I ended up selling like my first, I don't know, $3,000 print of the physical piece to a collector. And that that's when I understood the difference between like something that's source connected and that healing thing that's happening through the act of creating is embedded in the work as well and emanates off the page. So later on, I just said, you know what? I'm not even a painter. I'm just someone who charges surfaces with energy. And the full-on act of doing it is I'm also in the zone and I'm also connecting. So when I'm doing shows, for example, when I draw for people at my shows and events at like Mont Blanc or at John Barbados, there's videos of that.
You made one for Paris Hilton too.
I did.
Yeah,
that was
boy.
He sent that video. It was so funny.
Yeah, Paris is cool. She's sweet. She's really smart. But being able to do those things for people and then having seen all the physical responses and reactions to me in those events, I mean, you had people trembling, you have people crying, you have people having these full-on out-of-body experiences while I'm painting.
Wow.
And I didn't understand, again, retroactively looking back, you're like, okay, so when I was drawing, that's when I was raising my vibration without knowing. Connecting to them, they were feeling through entrainment, 2 people connecting through entrainment through me or quantum entanglement or whatever you want to call it, their vibration is raising, they're getting a connection, they're having a healing moment. So, but then I would have like the couple of funny things that would happen after those. Afterwards, I would usually be really hungry and really lightheaded.
Oh, wow.
I was like airy.
So it kind of sucked the energy
It
out of
took a
you?
lot out of you.
No, it wouldn't suck the energy out of me. I was so high, my vibration was so high, I didn't know how to manage it by grounding.
Oh, wow.
So I would end up at Del Taco eating a ton of food. Like 20,
that's where Kenny ends up every day.
Yeah, like $20-$30 worth of Del Taco.
Oh,
and
wow.
then it would feel so satisfying eating it. Like I don't feel satisfied eating that now, but it would feel so satisfying eating it after a show. And later on I talked to my acupuncture lady again and she goes, "Oh, silly, you're just grounding." I'm like, "How am I grounding eating shitty food?" She goes, "Well, you're really high on a vibrational level and you're eating really low vibrational food." That crappy meat and everything else that's happening there, right? So it was just these physical things that you discover these like little nuggets over the course of your life.
Right.
And then I would have like maybe a week or 2 of post-show depression
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't know how to raise my vibration back up naturally daily, I would go into like this low vibrational frequency.
Wow.
Again, 2015, 16, 17, this is not, I didn't know how to manage energy.
Mm-hmm.
So managing your energy is really, really important as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish you would teach him that a little bit, because he's so in tune with other people.
Yeah.
And he picks up on their energy and their emotions.
Yeah.
And it wears him down. Like, I see it in his eyes.
Burnt
Like,
out.
I come in here and like someone could come in and they're in a shitty mood. He will be in a shitty mood.
Right.
That's why he's always like, I want good energy. I want us to have fun. But I'm like, if you also have a little bit of a barrier, so you're not getting sucked into other people's crap, then it would probably help you to be a little bit more like, I'm good,
So if you raise your vibration to a good level consistently, what ends up happening is that those people that show up, they have to match yours, right? But if you're already operating on a low because you're stressed out and you're tired and you're exhausted, and another depressed, sad person walks in here, well, guess what? You're going to be like picking up on all that stuff. But if you hold your vibration high, then when someone walks in here, they're going to get uplifted and calm and cool. They're like, I don't know why, but I feel better now that I'm here, So things change for them. And it doesn't take anything out of you. You don't need any kind of protection. You don't need any kind of bubble around you. You don't need any of that stuff. So it's a little bit of a different vibration. And same thing with healers. Like if you go to a healing professional and they're drained after your healing, you don't want to be going to that healer. So you want someone who's able to heal themselves first through the process. So when I activate, vibration rises, energy flows through, and you feel better and I feel better too. You know what I mean? So because I'm activating myself. But
let's see if by painting that you can make Kenny cry, because he's gonna he's gonna be connecting to
video that. So
yeah, Josh,
video.
Yeah, for sure.
From the back.
Yeah. Can you summarize that in any way that just kind of says, this is how you connect to a higher energy? This is, because I feel like with what I walked away with by watching The Secret or anything else is really just focusing on it, on its existing now. It's like, if I only want it hard enough, it's going to come. And you're almost saying the opposite of that.
You are, yeah.
So
Because
like,
you're getting more wanting, right? If you're wanting something so bad, you're just getting more of the wanting. Right. The difference for me is, like, for example, simple things like if I wanted a workout system called the Tonal in my office. So I can't help it but like imagine it on the wall every day. I just constantly go, oh, this is where I want it. This is how I think it'll work. This is how I'll be working out on it. All of that stuff. So, and then it just shows up and it works out really well. But from a standpoint of like, again, just focusing on objects in your life, wanting objects, I think you have so much resistance built up towards those objects anyway, because you don't know how you're going to make it. When you want a home or whatever, you don't know how the money is going to come, and the how isn't important. All of those basics still hold true as far as like how to manifest in your life. But the idea is not necessarily to manifest. It's really to have a peace of mind and to get to a place where none of this stuff matters anyway.
Got it.
And once it doesn't matter, now you don't have resistance. You don't even have to try. It just shows up. And then when it shows up, you're going to take conscious action. When NFTs opened up, I didn't have to think twice, like, this is why I'm doing it for the money or to make money. I was just doing what I was doing before. It was just at a different level, and I was finally had the audience that I could have never, ever, if I was imagining the house that I want and all of that stuff, that's great, which I do some of that too. I couldn't imagine the houses that I wanted, so I would watch videos of homes because my imagination.
Yeah, like vision boards are huge.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, have a vision board.
Yeah, so that's great. But as long as you're in your own way, because that's all you're focused on is the material stuff, it's never going to show up. And it's, the opportunities that would show up that you would have never thought of, like NFTs in 2021 for me, which was, I was literally painting on paper and, sharing on Instagram. I would have never seen that opportunity coming. There was nothing you could have told me that that's the possibility of that happening, right? Whereas all of a sudden I'm selling, 100 editions of 2 paintings in 24 seconds, you know, selling 5,000 NFTs in 26 minutes. Tokyo Punk sold out in 26 minutes. You know, you just don't know.
Cool.
I mean, that thing did. I mean, it's not.
It was crazy.
He's like, look it up, see how much I made.
It was crazy.
I mean,
No, because I remember before like NFTs came out, I remember because you had hit me up and you're like, hey, can you help me sell some paintings? And I figured you weren't like the best spot because I know you got, you know, all
you're right.
bill. And then all of a sudden in a year, I get a call from Lamborghini, like I said, and they're like, hey, your boy's here trying to look at Lamborghini Urises. I was like, well, something must have happened. And that's actually kind of why I started kind of noticing shit too with all the NFT stuff going on.
Right.
And I was like, well, I don't want to like compete with everybody in this industry now because there's so many people every corner. I was like, we got to change shit up, and maybe the NFT route is a way of doing it. And that's when I brought Jimmy and then my brother and a few other people, and I don't know, we're pushing hard to actually make it accessible to everyone to be able to rent these cars, not just
The elite.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it's a really wonderful idea, and the way you've done it, you guys went all out, and it seems like you're doing the DAO model, which is, I don't really understand much about it. I think I even started a DAO once without knowing what it meant, and then we closed it. But it's definitely something. It's the future. I know the buzz and the excitement of it has worn down. One, because business is really slow. Like, you know, NFTs are kind of in a slump right now. But from a technological standpoint and what it's done for art and having these relationships that we have with our collectors, and you having it with you're already doing that, right? You're daily having relationships with the people who...
We've been doing it.
You've been doing it.
It's been 10 years now, almost, yeah.
So, you know, at Exotics, you guys are doing it in a physical IRL level for so long, and this is just the extension of it with a whole new audience globally.
Yeah. Right.
And you got to, you know, I think it's going to do really well. And I'm sure you're going to have competition, which is great because it just shows you that the business...
Not yet.
Yeah.
And by the time they even try, we'll be so far ahead. They're going to have no choice but to join the team instead of trying to compete. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just something that's really wonderful what's happening. I think AI kind of ate the lunch and the excitement right now. So we're a little bit going into, you know, with the AI. But then what I see is whenever something new comes, like my script or whatever, at first I have this physical reaction of rejecting it, right? When the healing started, I took on like naturally. I was like, okay, this is cool. But once something new comes in, like AI, everybody's like rejecting it or scared of it or whatever, and then it starts to integrate into the world, the ones who see it. And that's another step that you guys could look at, go, okay, Web3 is a little slow right now, but how can we integrate AI into this plan that we have had in the DAO and bring it into and really help it even you know, boost it even more, you know, on a higher level. So I think it's just an exciting time, and
it is
to be alive.
GPT-4 is actually the brains behind a lot of the things we do.
Here. This is all he does.
All day long.
All day.
No, in December, when it came out in December, I like got on and started chatting. I was like, holy crap. And then just got the subscription. And anytime I need a little bit of, is this the best thing? It's almost like you creating art. Like, is it a good idea or not a good idea? And I just kind of ask, and I'm not asking for more creative things, obviously. It's more like business related, but it's been super helpful.
I mean, you can even have it, you know, write the content. I'm sure you're writing content, write emails, write you know, different things, and ask it situations. It's funny, me and my friend the past couple of days have been asking it, like, what would you do? Like, my friend owns Not Raw. It's a Kia. I don't know if you've met him or not, but Kia has this incredible company. He owns a pistachio farm, and he makes all these snacks from it called Not Raw bars, Not Raw pistachio butter. So he's got all these different products, right? And then also sells regular pistachios, like in buckets to, or boxes and stuff, to different stores and things like that. And we just asked it, you ask it a basic question, like, how can you make a business go, you know, do well selling pistachios? Literally everything he's done in the past 5 years, it just laid it out, like in a very, Like it's
crazy.
It's just like everything. Like I'm saying,
It comes together.
It comes together. You're like, dude. He's like, dude. He just sent it to me. He's like, everything I've done in the past 5 years, it just gave me the plan, and that's what I've been doing. Like that's why you're doing well. It's like
that's exactly where we are, because everything he's done in the past 10 years with exotic cars and rentals and all that, to me is absolutely why we are where we are. And even with me, with doing all the things and living in different places and having a startup and doing all the sciences, like I didn't, I did physics because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
But now it's all kind of coming together, and you kind of see that, like Josh sees it every day. The way he operates is completely different than mine, but they're both essential for what we're doing. And it's like, it just, I completely, I believe what you just said.
Yeah.
And even about Web3, for me, I'm not like, oh my gosh, now it's the AI bandwagon. Let's stop everything we're doing and jump on AI. I'm like, no, I'm pretty confident in what we're doing and what we're doing. So we're good.
Right.
We had a lot of people jump on that and be like, AI is the next big thing, and I'm going to start doing that. I was like, go for it. I'm kind of like, I believe this is good.
This is good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's hard. I mean, it's hard when you see like the attention go away, but every time attention goes away, there's opportunities created as well.
For sure.
I mean, when we were selling 101 art or edition art, the paintings that I was selling, then the Bored Apes came. I mean, we were in the midst of it, right? I mean, all of a sudden I'm in clubhouse rooms with people making chimp noises. You're like, what is going on?
Right.
Why is nobody buying?
Goblin Town. I was like, bro, what?
Yeah, that's like, oh, that's got the, but we were there. I was there, like literally when this whole monkey thing happens. I'm going, what is this? And for us, as the ones who were leading the way, and we were like the artists of the time, and we were the second wave of OGs, because there was a whole nother OGs before us, 2017, when NFTs were created. But once we saw that, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, my art isn't selling anymore. Everybody's buying monkey pictures and they're making monkey noises. What's going to happen? And then they're like, well, you have the IP to the monkeys. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but maybe I should buy one. And by the time it was like $800 a piece. I mean, that was expensive, for, even though I'd done well, I just wasn't going to waste it on, something that I didn't know was what it was. I ended up buying 2. And I did really, really well. Once I connected to the community, once I realized how big the community was, how amazing it was, and I started to respect the art more and why it was pretty, and maybe it wasn't pretty, but it was cool. I started integrating into my main art, and I probably had the most successful derivative collections as an artist of all time. Maybe not they did a ton of derivative PFE projects, but I did a bunch of derivative paintings with my apes. And, I even started the Bored Ape Vodka Club.
You did?
Yeah. I should have brought you guys a set. I forgot.
I drink vodka. That's what I drink.
I'll bring you guys some.
What the?
You wouldn't want to open these because there's only like 20 more boxes in the world.
Oh, good.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'll bring you a box here.
So cool.
Sick.
We work a lot with the Bored and Hungry guys just because they're right here. And it's like that. That's their whole business model. I mean, this.
Yeah. We
and
talked
then,
to them too.
Ape Water.
Ape Water guys are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've. I mean, it's just so funny how entire businesses now exist around these digital art pieces.
Yeah, there's how that. But as soon as I start, once you stop being afraid of what's happening, and you start utilizing it,
sure.
and you see the opportunity of how it applies to you, then it becomes a no-brainer. So again, that was amazing, and then I applied that same rule. Like Tokyo Punks, you have your also IP, and people have started things with my IP now, and so it's been pretty cool to see all
super
this stuff.
Cool.
Awesome.
My brother is. I know he's like a stickler on time and stuff, but I mean, I literally could sit here and just.
We'll have to have a
day.
session too when you bring the box.
But,
for sure. Next week I'll bring it over.
It's just so much learned, but more than anything else for me, so much felt. Like this like calm sense of being, And
I'm just like falling asleep. I don't know what to do. I was like all hyped up, and now I'm like so
he's
relaxed.
like, he's been the quietest.
I haven't said a word. I'm just sitting here listening, like in my own little world.
It's true.
It's crazy.
But I wish, I don't know if you're down with this, but I think for me, like the most amazing thing would be for
him to bless us with some great
but
energy.
then also,
in here.
like, okay, just to get personal for a second, like me and my brother, inevitably when you work, there's a lot of things that come up that go beyond just the business, right? And so we've really made a conscientious effort to work through those things, but there's still some blockages. And I don't know if you can do something to sort of like take down the walls, because I feel like if the walls were taken down, then and there was like a more connectedness, not so much of a like you're there, I'm here kind of a thing, it would be so helpful.
So one of the things that I do in the healing aspect of things, so you might not have physical things, he's got physical things, but the emotional stuff that I went through, which is having all those walls up and having fears of childhood trauma, maybe coming from Iran, you know, while there was bombings. Were you guys there?
Yeah.
We were all there at the same time.
So, I mean, I was a little older. I was probably 10. Nushin, you were probably Nushin's age, so a couple of years younger. She responded to it differently. I responded to it differently when we came here, but I never looked back and said, oh, that was like really traumatic.
Right.
You know?
Same.
But when I see like, I'm not crazy about fireworks. You know what I mean? Like,
I love fireworks.
It's fun, but it's like.
But I remember
Yeah.
going down in the basements
too.
and bombs just dropping everywhere.
It's
and you're
true.
like, is it going to fall on our house?
Right.
What's going to happen? Windows blowing in.
We're like a statistical miracle that we're still here, you know? But so whenever somebody is having those kind of, or any kind of issues, typically what I tell them is, so what happened for me is I did my first healing on someone, first on my wife's knee, and then the next day it was her cousin, and I just closed my eyes and I knew. I was like, I'm going to do it from here. Like, I didn't even go up and put my hands on her knee or anything. I was like, and it worked. So that morning when I woke up, I had kind of transcended all of my stuff and I realized what was happening. So now I'm able to help a lot of people do the same thing. So if it's not physical, when I do an activation, I ask people to close their eyes. So if you guys want to close your eyes, go ahead. And what
you guys too.
You guys can't do it.
Kenny, come on.
So
it's okay. Close your eyes.
Come on, Kenny. I want you to do it.
You need to close your eyes.
Anybody who wants to. And basically what I want you to do is hold on to all the stuff that spirals you out, like things that you think about, whether it's childhood trauma, your parents, Iran, home, whatever, or the relationship between you two. And I want you to think about that. You see how like it kind of drags you down and you want to spiral down to like a lower vibration right away, right? So hold on to that. And when I activate you, you're probably going to go through some sort of, you know, a little bit of mini journey, or nothing might happen. But I'm going to let you guys keep your eyes closed for as long as you want. So don't think like after I snap my fingers, you need to open your eyes right away. So I'm going to snap my fingers. I'm going to activate you both, or all of you in here. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. That means 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We got time. So we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and activate you guys now. And then I'll ask you about your journey and how you feel now about whatever you were holding. Activating now. Who wants to share first?
Mine was pretty simple. You, if you want, go. Josh, you can share yours.
When I was closed, I felt something like just go.
Same. Totally same.
Like literally, as soon as you went like this, it was just like.
Me too.
That's awesome.
Literally same. Like it was, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I felt it.
Me too.
And now, if you think about the stuff that was bothering you, how does it feel?
Detached. Like the whole like, bro, calm down. It's like so, like the vortex that you were saying, like I could see it, like all that anxiety and shit. Yeah. And then it was kind of like when you did that, it definitely detached from, like it sucks me in. You know what I mean? Like I'm in the middle of that hurricane.
Right.
But then when you did that, it almost like kind of elevated it. And then you did that and I was just like, bro, go away. Yeah. Like we're good. Yeah. You know? That was definitely where I was. And this,
that was a little trip.
It was weird. I'm like, forget about branding and all that. Can you just come here and like connect all of us and forget about NFTs and selling out collections and all that?
Yeah,
but
man. Maybe
I mean,
that's
like,
my future.
this has been
I'm all
like,
about the goodness, bro.
I think we're all about the goodness,
Yeah.
but there's no denying that there's the
it was-
opposite of that,
Sure.
you know, and just not being affected by it,
Sure.
you know.
And what happens is, like right now, typically what I ask people when they, I'm like, think about that childhood trauma that you had, and they look back and they go, it's almost like somebody else's story.
Bro,
And for
yeah.
me, it's like that too. For me, it's like all of the stuff that messed me up early on. Now I can talk about it openly and not be affected by it, or not, I remember like talking about that stuff, maybe in a therapy session or talking to somebody about it. And I'd be like, as I was talking about it, I was like heavier and heavier and heavier. And
Sure.
all of a sudden you drag everybody down with you. But
Yeah.
that doesn't really happen anymore. It's just a fact. Okay. So this happened when we were kids. All right.
Right.
That's all good.
That was just a weird sensation.
That was great though.
I literally.
What happened to you?
What did you?
We're gonna have to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. No, but Josh. Yep.
Why don't you hop over here and get on the mic?
So we can
Yeah.
hear. Just
'Cause
so
we
that
can't
just
hear.
so that you have a little. I don't know if. But Josh went through something just recently that's kind of like on the physical level that I'm like, what? Like I didn't understand why it's happening all of a sudden, and I'm
Okay.
like, maybe he can share that with you.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw
You
this
got-
out
you
there.
got 1
I just
minute.
noticed I'm
Okay.
always doing this. Like, but we'll get into that after. But Josh, go.
So I guess I'll just make this as simple as possible. I went through a pretty scary experience when I was up in Lake Tahoe, and I guess it kind of snowballed into a very anxious state of mind that I carried with me every single day. And it got to the point where I always had felt this pressure on my chest, and it was just anxiety just on me every single day, and I would feel it all the time. And when we just did that right now, after getting rid of that, I had felt that same feeling. No, this is like weird. I know.
I
Yeah.
can
That's okay.
hear it.
I feel
Yeah.
it.
I'm like hot thinking about this right now, but I felt that same feeling for a second and then felt it leave.
Leave. Okay, good.
It was, dude, I'm like, I don't even know what to say, but
So it's still probably with you. You were
That
just
was-
holding it.
yeah, I guess I was holding a little part of it with me.
What happened to you?
When, like, just now,
No, that
before.
couple months ago.
So there was a snowstorm in Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
As you may know, it's been snowing a lot there,
Yeah.
and I ended up hitting a pothole, and my tire popped, just completely blew out, and we were stuck on the side of the road for, I want to say it's from 8 p.m. to around 1 a.m.,
Yeah.
and it was freezing. It was so cold, and we were waiting for a tow truck, but we were on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe, and my AAA only was in California at the time. So then I had to work out all that stuff, and it was a super stressful situation. And we eventually got picked up, and it was a huge ordeal, and we had to end the trip a little bit early. And after that, I didn't feel the same.
Right.
I felt like just a more anxious person, and I felt like something bad was going to happen like that again, even
Let
if
it go.
even if it had no relation
Yeah.
to that. And yeah, I guess it's not only that piece, but I had been feeling this dizziness, this vertigo, and I've been feeling it for a while. Doctors have actually I've been seeing doctors a lot within the last 5 months, and we've done so many different tests and just haven't really been able to pinpoint what it is that's causing this vertigo. At first, we thought it was like something in my inner ear, and then just so many different things that it could have been.
Sure.
But now it's more of something that I'm just like learning to deal with.
Right.
I still feel dizzy. The feeling, I guess the best way I could describe it is when you're on a boat and you step out onto the dock
And you're still weaving. Yeah.
yeah, you feel like
You still
like
have that now?
most of the time. Yeah.
Is it there now, right now?
Not right now, actually. And when you were painting, I just, like, I felt like calm.
Yeah.
and I don't know how that all works in my body.
Right.
I do meditate, and I meditated, I want to say every day for like 3 months, something like that. And it really helped me understand my anxiety and get over that anxious, deep rooted anxiety that I had in me from that event in Lake Tahoe. And I'm blessed to say that I no longer feel that feeling, but
God damn!
Oh, good.
We have a healing here today.
yeah. But yeah,
We should do the
I-
little church thing.
Yeah.
it's odd though, because I can feel your energy. It's very good energy.
It's so funny.
and
I can too.
yeah,
It's like calm. I love it.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Can we put you in a pill? Seriously. I want it. I want it.
We're gonna chop you up in little pieces first.
No, it's great.
But
really,
thank you.
Yeah,
I think
thank
Hey, man, if you ever get that dizziness again, you can hit me up. You can text me, and maybe we can do it while it's happening. I hope it doesn't come back. Usually after something like this, it probably won't. But if it does, just text me. And we can do, for one more minute, I want you guys to do this exercise yourself, just to learn how to bring up your vibrations
Love
yourself.
it.
It's super, super easy. So I want you guys to close your eyes. And I want you guys to picture people you love in your heart center. So in your heart chakra or energy center, in the center of the chest, where the heart is. And what I want you guys to do is imagine that love as kind of like a bubble. Whatever color comes to your mind is fine. And now I want you guys to expand that bubble outside of yourselves. So it's surrounding you and everything around you. And I want you to keep expanding it outside of now see, I'm already feeling all you guys. Expand it outside of this building. Just make that bubble bigger. Keep breathing through your stomach. Easy. Grow it out even further. Take it out of the country. Surrounding 4D. Think about up, down, below, side to side, everywhere. And now make it even bigger. Encompass the planet that you're in. Now take it past the moon. And keep it going past all the other planets. And keep growing that bubble outside of the thing to infinity. Just keep going. And I'm going to stay quiet for like the next 3 minutes as you guys expand that bubble. And you meditate all the time, so this is different, right?
This is, it's almost like I tried to enter my meditative state right away and just envision it.
Yeah. Expanding. So when you try to meditate, usually what we're trying to do is get rid of the thoughts that are coming in. But as soon as you activate your heart, the mind quiets down. So it's kind of like a cheat sheet. It's kind of like a quicker way of getting there almost instantly, because you transcend it. You transcend thought. You transcend issues, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah.
For me, like, as I saw expanding, like I felt force, but then it eventually got to the point where it was just like completely quiet.
Yeah.
Did it? Yeah. It's like so.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's very quiet. Yeah. What's up, Al?
I'm in the zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm in the zone.
So a lot of times, I mean, before you step into here in the morning, it's like it's a new segment. You activate the heart, and then you step in.
No, we're just gonna call you every motherfucking morning, and we're gonna have you do this before we start the day.
Let's go. Yeah, man.
And
That was great.
yeah, we gotta call it. We're gonna be late, but
We don't. I don't
He's
even want to
got it.
do like the crazy out, like going out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I just wanna say thank you. Do you have any words of wisdom for the viewers? Any kind of energy you want to send to everyone?
Well,
that
hopefully, if they watch this and they connect to us, I think being on the same place and same.
right, I feel like I'm like kind of floating.
Yeah, man.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So you guys also want to picture yourselves growing out roots through the ground. So if you guys close your eyes for like a minute and ground yourselves too, because you guys are going to be like really floaty. So imagine like you got roots growing out of the bottom of your feet into the core of the earth.
I don't want that feeling.
It's just what it does is it grounds you.
Yeah.
And I want to float though.
You can float for now.
Yeah. I'll do the grounding later.
You can ground.
I kind of like the
Damn.
flow.
Yeah.
Josh, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Hope you're feeling good.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. This was awesome. Thank you guys for reminding me of this as well.
Thank you. No, thank you for coming, making time. I know you're busy, but you always make time for me.
Absolutely.
Let's
For
go.
life.
Thank you guys, everyone.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I
That
hope
was amazing.
The
This is a lot of
experience was
fun.
amazing, for real. Now,
Thanks.
paint my canvas real quick with our
Yeah,
logo.
give me your paint canvas. Let me do a tiger.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Make sure to
It'll
follow
be
Mr. Sabet,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
and his NFTs are awesome.
Yeah.
He sent me 3 of them. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you got some, huh? I got to get you some more.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what about me?
Send me your wallet, man.
All
I'll
right.
hook you up.
Thank you.